screen free. I've gone back to my lock screen again. Can you still see me?
Aye, see you fine. Working good. I put on my better sound. I'll be a better sound. I'll be better to use it. There you go.
Oh, aye.
Aye. Right.
Yeah, so I've got I'm on lock screen now.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Okay.
2 seconds.
I've not got I've not got my screen for to see my live screen, but it'll be there.
My lock screen was. Why is it doing that? I've just got my lock screen.
There we go. Oh, it says it's live. Oh, I think we're working, man. I think so. It says it's live. Aye, it should be. Oh, I think we're working, man. I think so.
Stay, don't freeze again.
Hi, there is. Hi, Brent. Aye. FlatEarth Underground. Yeah, how you doing, bud? Everything sounding okay? Should be. Check it out. I think it's, we're okay.
Is that FlatEarth Underground on, is it?
Ah, it sounds aye there. Spot on.
Hi, Flat.
Cheers with the juice. Brent and me, we're out to give you some knowledge, just a chit chat in general. What we've been speaking about were quite concerning, and one of the things that he woke me up today and he says, listen, you sent me that link with the shutting down the Google Plus, what's that about? And I said, fucking aye, pretty bad like. So in December they announced this, and it's going to be on April the 2nd. They're shutting down the Google Plus. Can you only be able to get Google Plus anymore? It's shut down all the pictures that you've had saved, so you have to go away and start downloading the fucking things. Like it's so it's quite. It's like, what's happening here? What they're like closing us down. They're shutting down the fucking the ways that we used to use for sharing our information. Now, it's okay when you think, oh, this is just family photos and people and stuff like that, but there's a lot more that we're sharing. There's a truth that we're sharing that seems to be the problem. And this was for free. Now it's gone. I mean, I reckon we're going to save our photos now. There's Dropbox and places like that you can do it, but it's the links, you see. You used to hear your links going back to picking up these things. It was dead handy. But anyway, let me go. On April the 2nd, your Google Plus account and any Google pages that you've created will be shut down and will begin to be deleted content from your consumer Google Plus accounts. Photos, videos from your Google Plus album archive and your Google Plus pages will also be deleted. You can download and save your content if you want, just to make sure that you do this before April. Please note that photos and videos backed up in Google Photos will not be deleted. Okay. The process of deleting the content from consumer Google Plus accounts, Google Plus pages, and from the album and archive will take a few months, and the content may remain throughout this period. For example, users may still see parts of their Google Plus account via the activity log, and some Consumer Plus content may be visible on the Google Suite users until Google Plus has been deleted. From as early as February the 4th, you will no longer be able to create new Google Plus profiles. So you're now for February, they're going to stop you being able to do them. If you're a Google Plus community owner, moderator, you can download it. If you sign into sites using apps, right? If you sign into sites and apps using the Google Plus sign-in button, these buttons will stop working in the coming weeks, but in some cases they may be replaced by a Google sign-in button instead. You will still be able to sign in with your Google account. Whether you'll be able to see your sign-in buttons is another thing. So basically, that's that. That's the Google Plus getting completely closed down by on the 2nd of April, which isn't that far a while. Like, it's just around the corner, really. So so you were saying you don't use it much, though, do you?
I don't personally use it, but like I found out today, it's more for people like myself and other people that have invested so many hours in making content to put out there, just looking for truth, not spreading malicious rumors or anything, just looking for truth. People like that have got to be worried. People need to start saving stuff and downloading it and making sure they've got their back catalogue filed away safely.
Aye.
Personally, for me, and I don't know if for anybody else that is on Google platform, I never use my Google Plus, so for me, I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to affect the fact that I'm on Gmail or anything like that. I don't think it's going to interfere with anything like that.
Aye, okay. This is...
People that have got lots of personal photographs or whatever keepsakes on their phone, you need to make sure you've got them in some other format because they're going to disappear.
Right. There's others. It's all going. It's so handy. I had it in different. I've got different profiles that I use as well, can so.
Aye. You see, my screen's gone up. My screen keeps jumping from lock screen to home screen to back to the camera. It's just jumping all over the place.
Awkward.
I say, for people like myself, I don't think you need to worry too. Got a few photos I saved on, but people that have got a phone that has got years worth of stuff saved on it, then that I'm starting to wonder. Wait a minute, what's going to happen to all the albums I've got off Google Play? For years, you know, is that going to be part of the platform that they can't take that from people if it's purchased stuff, can they?
Well, if you've got heaps of photos in it that you've used for years, you'd be as real pressing the download and save button and get it back, put it somewhere, probably photos on there that you go, fuck I do want that, I can mine that photos, that's years ago. But it's a space it's going to take up isn't it? It's going to take up a hoor of fucking space. And this is going to be the thing, it's where you're going to put it, if you've got room to put it anywhere. That was the handy thing about Google, was that I've got gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes, terabytes of information. That's the problem. I mean, I've so much stuff dating back since the beginning of fucking Google starting. I've got photos going back. If I was to start downloading, I'd be there all day, downloading, and I'd hate to have some amount of space to do it. I don't think in fact it'd be fucking a colossal amount.
You need to check if that Dropbox is linked to Google Plus.
Aye, I've got Dropbox too.
That Dropbox.
You get it with the phone.
You get 50 gig free storage.
Right.
Yeah. Get 50 gig free storage of photos or anything. I think sounds or anything, I suppose. But yeah, as I explained days earlier, I'm not one really for I don't use my Google Plus. I don't use my Google Plus page. I know things that get saved to that I just go automatically from a device, but I personally don't use Google Plus. You know, I just use my Google browser, which I think my phone's just on by default. You know, and on my tablet, it's on Samsung Internet. You know, so I think I might be okay in that respect. So for people like myself, it's maybe not such a big deal, but for people that do have, like Des says, a lot of stuff that they want, like photos, they want on their phone all the time so they can see them. They need to make sure that they're back up to something that's not connected to Google Plus, because it's going to go bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm concerned about is this just the start of whittling down, and before long it's only going to be one content provider, one street source, and you know, it's the way things have been going and are going. It's just like you really have to wonder. I mean, they're digging up the street beside my house, the long road in Aberdeen, Great Northern Road. They started digging it up to lay the fibre optic cables for the 5G that's coming in. I tried to speak to some of the workers there the other day, but I just got the shrugged shoulders and the sort of piss off look from them, you know. But I try to say, if you've got children and family you care about, just please look into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked into stuff myself that's saying that there are quite a lot of husbandless women now and childrenless, fatherless children in America now, trying to find a way of claiming against the phone companies because their husbands who worked in America implementing 5G and stuff have died at 27 and 30-year-old with strange tumours of the, you know, and the evidence is there if you look for it. It's very nefarious. It's not good for us, and it's never been tested. This frequency has never been tested on the humans before. We're the test bed. We are the test bed. It's up to 300 gigahertz. So my latest findings are, I thought it was up to 60 gigahertz, but I've heard it's up to 300 gigahertz. That is microwave. That you know, people are going to be feeling it. I mean, I can feel. I feel like I'm electrosensitive now. That's why my tinnitus is always going all over the place. It never stays at one pitch. It's up and down like a yo-yo. Mm-hmm. I think it's to do with the frequencies. And I get like a crawling sensation on my skin if I'm too close to a computer, like a laptop or a PC or something. I get a tingling sensation.
Okay.
And doctors, people are going to their doctors and they're saying, "Oh, and the doctors are calling them crazy because they're saying, I think it's to do with all the EMFs, you know." And doctors are now, because they've been taught in the Western umbrella of medicine and how to look after patients. They're not being taught anything about it, and the doctors over here have got such a basic understanding of the body's most basic functions. Mm-hmm. I've quizzed my GP several times on certain things that I've researched quite deeply, and I'm being quite stumped at his lack of knowledge at how the sympathetic system works with your hippocampus and your pineal gland and how it's all related. And even the stories we get told as children about Santa Claus coming down the chimney and that, and the truth about what that is, that's about Jesus as well. That Jesus is much Santa Claus as Santa Claus is Jesus.
All right.
You know, but in the old days they didn't say, "Oh, go to bed and be good because Santa Claus is bringing presents." They told their kids, "Go to bed and sleep because if you're not being good, Krampus is going to come and take you away in a sack."
Right.
And the original Christmas story, it's all from pagan. It all stems from the old Sumerian Anunnaki religion, every Abrahamic religion.
Mm-hmm.
The Quran, the Bible, the Catholic version of the Bible. You know, how can there be two different versions of the? You know, that all were born of a virgin birth. They were all born, found by 3 wise magi following a star from Immaculate Conception. They all started their prophesying and life's works at the age of 30, and they were all murdered by the religious Sanhedrin of the times of their day at the age of 33. And it's all allegory. And Jamie Brown was on about this yesterday, saying, "Oh, what does numbers? People need to stop." And when I say no, numbers are very important, and we need to stop looking at them as like, oh, number 33 means 666, because if you add 33 and 33, you get 66. So that must be six. Sometimes in my research and in my own personal study, I found that, and I went to Bible college for 22 months, came out with more questions than answers, and that's when my journey began. The whole Bible is allegory and metaphor for bodily functions that occur naturally within our body, and it was all written in metaphor and code, because if the truth was outed, and they would have been burned or so it was all written in code. And at times we need not look at numbers and say, right, how does that relate to 666? And then we'll look at the Google Chrome sign, and that happens to be 666 as well. And we're like, oh, 666, it's everywhere. We need to start thinking of numbers as allegory and metaphor.
Aye, well, they're there.
It keeps coming up in symbology. The reason that is so important is, I can put it in a nutshell for you in a few minutes. 33 vertebrae. Every month, beside our pineal gland, we have another gland. I can't remember the specific name of it at the moment, which produces a white substance which travels down our spinal column, our 33 vertebrae. That's Santa coming down the chimney. The substance sits in our sacral plexus, which we all have, our bottom chakra. Our sacral plexus, basically our prostate. It's white. It's the manna from heaven, basically pure protein. It may sound gobbledygook, but this is what it is. Aye. The secretion sits in your sacral plexus unless you spill your seed for 3 days thereabouts. The 3 days that Jesus was in the tomb. The tombstone rolled away. The juice then travels back up our spinal column, up the 33 vertebrae, where it crosses the crucifix, which will look up your spine on any spinal chart. It will show you the crucifix we have in our neck. It is then crucified, where it meets a honey-like substance from the pituitary gland, which is mixed in the pineal gland, which creates DMT, the land of milk and honey, which they go on about in the Bible. The land of milk and honey is inside us. It's not a place out there. There was no Israelites walking about the desert for 40 years looking for a land of milk and honey. The land of milk and honey. Milk is the manna, honey is the secretion, and it all happens naturally. It's a bodily function. It's a bodily. There's no heaven. There's no devil down there waiting to put a fork up your butt.
No, sir.
It's all allegory and metaphor. So it's about you're the one. When Jesus was speaking to the disciples and they were saying, why aren't we catching fish? And he said, stop casting your net out the left-hand side and cast it to the right. They cast their nets to the right-hand side of the boat and they couldn't pull the net of fish in. It was that full. That's allegory for using the right-hand side of your brain for critical thinking and getting rid of the rubbish in your left-hand brain that's dragging you down. Because it's all this crap we're fed that keeps us bound in perpetual serfdom and slavedom. And if we've cast our net to the right and use our right hand hemisphere, then we're using our mind.
Right.
And we're then deciphering truth from lies.
So that was his.
We're in critical thinking. Do you know that when they do an autopsy on a person, if they're quick enough and they get into the pineal gland, that it glows bioluminescent like some jellyfish do in the deep oceans? That really? Bioluminescent blue.
Really?
But what I found, they say that in these times, by the age of 12, most people's pineal glands are calcified to the extent that they're switched off to where the the fat controllers want us to be, and that they will just fit comfortably into that box, you know, that they want us to fit into, and, you know, pay that tax and national insurance for the best, you know. So I'm sorry, I stumped myself there. I forgot where I was at.
So there's these things that'll calcify the pineal gland, then, isn't there?
So by 12 years old, they think now, and I was looking at this guy, he had pineal glands out, and you could see it glowing and that, you know. But
I've got to see this. This is
part that's calcified.
Is this a YouTube video you've seen this on, Brent?
I'll find it, and I'll look it up, and I'll send it to you, mate. Because
you've seen it. You've actually watched it, eh?
Aye, it's recently.
That's interesting. But
this stuff that I'm on about, this is stuff that I've known for years, you know, since long. I've been, I'm a seeker, you know.
I understand.
I'll search till my part and breath, you know. I don't believe the God of the Bible doesn't exist, folks. I'm sorry to tell you. You know, I wanted to believe for so long, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Nobody's life is better for feeling like they're under some sort. You know, the church, all they do is make people feel like, look, we're all sinners, we're all fallen from grace. You know.
Yeah.
That may be, but if that's the case, we're in hell now. You know that in the Bible, the hell, Sheol, like where they get oil from, shale oil, Sheol. Hell was a rubbish outside Jerusalem, where it was so hot, the temperatures were so hot. If you are poor, you're
fuck's sake. I think I've just lost you, bud. They hearing you? What the fuck? You've just stopped. Bummer. Just just when you were explaining there, that was good. You may come back. It often happens. You just ring it again, and you'll never be hearing me. Anyway, that's a shame. We're going to be having a good conversation about this untested 28 radiation blasting from millions of new hidden antennas, all tuned up, smart meters, corporate free-for-all, oversight eliminated. Right, the video's doing. Maybe the video's doing as well, is it? The video's doing as well. Right, so there you go. That's so quick. Try to explain this to you. Right, this is the thing. This is the problem that we've got. This information comes out so fast, and then the video has been taken down as well, because it's just boom. Stop people. They just don't want you to know this. Why? There's a list of reasons, isn't there? This is pretty heavy, guys. Kind of need to really sort of. There's a heap of stuff on this page. I just sort of copy and when I put this out to the chat. There we go. There's the page, guys, that I'm reading from. It gives you a list of all the things. This may be a talk. Let's see. Let's have a listen to this one. See what it says. Is that your pop, Brent?
Ain't that bloody handy, eh? Phone shuts down and rebooting Android system again. That happened twice in the last time I was speaking, did it?
Aye. Here you go. See, I can't even come back. Like, I can't do it just a bit of time. It's fucking annoying, is it?
Who's pushing the power button?
Aye. So I was just about to hit that. I noticed that the other video that I had shown, it's been deleted already. YouTube's taking it out. YouTube's taking it out. I mean, it just shows you how quick this information is getting put out and then censored amazingly fast. You know, we're talking days, you know, we're talking hours, we're talking weeks, we're talking fucking days and hours now when it's that boof, information gone. Although the text is still there, we only got the text, but video, which is powerful. The videos are always very powerful. You know, that's why we've got a video that's going now. You know, it's explaining everything. People can hear what's getting said. They hear it in real life. Hear if you like us two people talking in real life, they understand it. It's, you know, something real. Things like that taken down quick.
It's just a shame that they seem to be so against people that just want to speak, you know?
Well, what's the agenda, though? The thing is, this is, you know how detrimental to our health this is. So that's why they're wanting to stop you from speaking. It's not people just wanting to speak. It's telling us they want us to be quiet about the dangers involved with this 5G. There's a lot of dangers involved with it, and it's why they're not getting talked about. Seems to be the problem and the issue. And like you said, even your doctors don't seem to know the implications of what this 5G is. I mean, it's really, this is the only people that seem to know about this is the truth movement. You know, other than that, people just are carrying on, getting smart meters, smart TVs, Wi-Fi, just blasting everywhere, not caring, and it's just making life so much easier for them. But they're not realising the dangers and the implications that this has. And this is far-reaching. This is cancer-causing. You know, this is like really, really severe. I mean, I don't know how much I can explain it to you. How bad it is. You know. But anyway, there was a video away to come on. I'll stick this video. There was a way to come on and see what this guy was away to say. Hold on, let's see if I can find it now. It's right here. I don't know if you'll hear it.
So I'd like to begin by asking a few questions. Who knows if they have a wireless smart meter on their home? Okay. And who has their smartphone in their pocket right now? Great. And who's read the fine print in your owner's manual that says that the smartphone should never be within about an inch of the body? So today, I'm going to speak to why we can no longer assume that our wireless technology is safe. Technology has allowed us I'm going to speak many to benefits. Why it's connected us to people and to places, and it's brought us convenience that few could have imagined just 10 years ago. It's also brought us tremendous economic benefits. If we can look at how technology has increased in our lives in just the last 8 years, it started with the iPhone, and then tablet computing, ubiquitous Wi-Fi, the smart meter and the smart home, and wearable tech, and now the Internet of Things. If we could imagine how this would look, it would actually look like this. This is an artist's rendition of what Wi-Fi in our public spaces looks like. We could actually hear what microwave radiation sounds like with a device like this. So if anybody would like to hear what their smartphone or their smartwatch sounds like, come and see me at the end, and I can show you. But how does this affect our bodies? That's the question I want to ask, because this exponential rise in microwave radiation can have effects. And that's what scientists and medical doctors around the world are now saying, especially when it comes to children, because they're going to be affected by this their entire lives. But today I also want to share a few solutions. I want to give everyone here things that you can do in your own lives in order to reduce this type of exposure. So I actually got into this topic about 5 years ago. Before then, I was a young technology enthusiast. I always used my smartphone and Wi-Fi. I worked in Silicon Valley and have a master's degree in engineering. So if anyone had told me that wireless technology could have health effects, I would have thought they're crazy. So if you're thinking that right now, I can relate. But this all changed for me over the period of about 1 week. And I started to experience headaches, ringing in the ears, insomnia, and a fatigue and brain fog that I'd never experienced before. And I shared this with a colleague at work, and she said, you know, the exact same thing happened to her husband when a wireless smart meter was installed in their home. So I went home that evening, and I checked downstairs, and sure enough, we had a bank of wireless smart meters installed right below our bedroom in San Francisco. So this started me on a journey to learn as much about this topic as I possibly could. I now have a website about this, and I'm contacted by people all around the world every day who are experiencing the exact same things. It can be when they have a wireless smart meter installed, or a new Wi-Fi router, or even a cell tower placed across the street from their home. These are the common symptoms that people start to experience. This is actually from a published paper on the health effects of wireless smart meters. So, just here in the Bay Area, I'm in touch with dozens of people who've had their lives changed by this. Medical doctors, high school principals, teachers and students, IT professionals, and even entrepreneurs. These are people who had a normal life, and then over a short period of time, went to where they could no longer work, where they could no longer go to an office. Some of them actually have had to move out of their homes because they can't be in an environment which is normal now for most people. I've been in touch with people around the world who've become homeless because of this. There's many people that's actually happened to. And unfortunately, I know of people who've actually taken their lives because there's essentially no place they can go. And this is something that society does not yet recognize. My own life has been tremendously changed by this. After that first exposure to wireless smart meters, now I can no longer be in an environment with strong Wi-Fi for very long. So I can't go to my work the way I used to be able to. Most environments are now essentially toxic to me. So even finding a safe place to live has become very difficult. Imagine not being able to live in an apartment building where everyone has Wi-Fi, or to be able to live next to a cell tower. This is actually a proposed cell tower here in Berkeley. The residents have actually stopped it for now, but most churches and most schools now have cell towers on them. And so it exposes the people around them, and of course the students who go to those schools. This is a cell tower in San Francisco. That brown thimble on top of the telephone pole is a cell tower. And these are being placed every couple blocks. So you could have an amazing home, and then 1 week, a company can come and put a cell tower right outside your window. So this is something that's happening throughout the Bay Area and it's going to be happening throughout the United States. So it makes it so that people like myself have a hard time finding a place to live, but it also is ratcheting up the exposure of the entire population. So you might be asking, perhaps some people are being injured by this, but if you're not feeling it, it's probably not that big of a deal. And I think that's a very common experience. But it's not as simple as saying that just a few unfortunate people are being affected by this. Because what the science shows is that we're all affected on some level, whether we can feel it or not. And the reason is because essentially our bodies are electric. Every cell in our body communicates using tiny electric signals. It's how our nervous system operates. So to think that we could put an exponential amount of microwave radiation into our environment and not feel effects is simply false. To illustrate this, I actually had many friends come to me when I started to experience this, and they would say, "Jeremy, are you sure you aren't making this up in your head?" And I thought this too myself at the beginning. But then a year or two later, they would come to me and they'd say, "You won't believe it, but now I'm feeling pain in my arm when I use my cell phone, or when I put it to the head, or when a new Wi-Fi router is installed." So this is something where when people have more of an exposure, more people are being affected. And it's not just headaches and insomnia. It's much more serious things, such as infertility, DNA damage, and eventually cancer. This is what the research is starting to show. And you don't have to take my word for it. I encourage you to start researching this for yourselves. If you simply Google EMF research, this is a screenshot of what you'll find. The World Health Organization is the first link there. And they actually, in 2011, came out and said wireless technology is possibly carcinogenic. Now there's scientists around the world that say that it's most likely carcinogenic. The third link there is actually my own website. It's there because the last 5 years I've gathered research from around the world that shows that we now have enough evidence to at least take precaution when it comes to this technology. So, isn't this regulated? And this is one of the most interesting things I've found. The Federal Communications Commission is who is supposed to be regulating wireless technology. But if you look at the regulations, they're almost 20 years old. So that means our most advanced technology is using science that's at least 20 years old. But not only that, they're based on a concept which is nearly 50 years old, which says if microwave radiation does not heat us, then it can't possibly hurt us. But there's now hundreds of studies that show that this is false. So how is it that we have a regulatory body that's not protecting the public? Well, like many issues, like many public health issues in our country, you end up having industry influencing the regulatory body. And that's what's happening here. So you have a revolving door between the wireless lobby and the FCC Commission. So that's what's happening. Plus, the science is heavily influenced by industry funding. This is a study by Dr. Henry Lai. He looked at 326 studies based on the biological effects of cell phone radiation. He found that about half of the studies showed effects and half didn't. That's pretty normal for this type of research. But what he found that was interesting was that if you looked at who funded the studies, 70% of the independent studies showed effects, and only 32% of the industry-funded studies showed effects. So you see that there's an influence in money on this topic. Just like many other topics, tobacco is another one where essentially the industry funded science that was going to show their products were safe. So that's the bad news. And now I want to share some good news. And that is that there are solutions for this. We are going to have the industry start to create safer products, but there are ways that we can both protect ourselves and move industry forward. So one of the primary things we can do is to move towards fiber optics, because this is a way that we can make our homes safer, our businesses, and our schools. So fiber optics are safe, they're secure, and there's absolutely, they're one of the fastest things we can use. Another way we can go is to design products which are safer. So currently we have product designers and engineers working together, but we can bring in biophysicists and biologists to work together to create products that don't just emit right underneath the FCC regulations, but emit the least amount of any type of electromagnetic fields as possible. If smart meters had been designed to use either fiber optics or to emit just once or twice a day, rather than the 10,000 times they do emit, then I wouldn't be standing here today, and thousands upon thousands of people around the world would not have been injured by smart meters. So what are some things that all of us can do? This is one of the most important things, because everyone wants to know how to essentially protect themselves and their families.
Yep.
So the first thing is to make sure we use our cell phones wisely. I mentioned that you don't want to put the cell phone within about an inch of the body. The industry's telling us this now. So make sure you use speakerphone, get an air tube headset, and when it's on the body, make sure that you put it on airplane mode, when it's either in the pocket or sometimes in the bra. And when it comes to kids, we don't want to have kids use cell phones, but if they must, then please teach them how to use these wisely. We can wire our homes. This is, most people don't need Wi-Fi in their home. So move towards Ethernet, move towards fiber optics, and if you must have Wi-Fi, make sure you turn it off at night. You can get a simple timer so you don't even have to think about it. When it comes to kids, we want to reduce their exposures as much as possible. So if they use an iPad, put all of the data on the iPad and then turn the Wi-Fi off. In schools, I simply do not think we need to have Wi-Fi in schools because we're filling those classrooms with microwave radiation. We can have amazing technology, but it can be wired. And this is where I think we're going to have to go. When it comes to the smart meter and the smart home, I recommend you opt out. I've had wealthy, early adopting families contact me who went all in on the smart home, and they ended up getting sick within a few months. So this is something that affects families, and I just recommend that you don't go down this path because it's a technology we do not need. And one of the last things I want to, solutions I want to give today is to create a safe place to sleep, because this is one of the most important things, because this is when your body rejuvenates, and it's when you can make sure that everything's off. So turn off all your wireless devices, unplug things. If you have a baby monitor, I actually recommend that you turn that off, especially at night. I just do not recommend those for kids. And if you do these things, I know many people who've ended up sleeping better. They have a
fuck's sake, that's what we're doing.
during the day.
Shut me down.
Fatigue is much less.
Wow.
So this is something which I recommend.
Shut me down.
That was quick.
I see if I've actually been knocked out or no. Okay. Oh. Wow, that was quick. Okay.
It was.
Let's see if it'll let me bog on. Maybe not getting. I've maybe actually been terminated.
Just that live stream near your.
Just one stream, and I think I've terminated me. Let's see. Okay. Let's try again. Let's see where we're at. Nah, it says stream unavailable. Policy suspended. fuck's sake. I have been fucking, that's me being wiped out, man. Stop it straight.